This short demonstration video shows the new print functionality available on the Smarter Balanced Sample Items website. Currently, you're looking at the homepage of the Sample Items website. To navigate to test questions, you can select Browse Test Items. That brings up the same test filters that you're familiar with that have been available in the site for the past months and years. By selecting some of the different filters for grade, subject, claim, you'll see that below the test questions dynamically populate based on your selections. There are two ways to show the results. The first is via this item card, and the second is in list format. You can navigate to each presentation of results by toggling or selecting the different presentation results here. I'm going to go ahead and select a few test questions for demonstration purposes. And you'll notice that, again, as I'm making the different selections, the different results populate in the list below. So now I've selected, I've got some results for the selected filters. I'm going to go ahead and check the boxes next to those test questions that I'd like to print out. You can do that also from the item card view. There is the bar here towards the bottom of the item card that says item selected when the item is selected to print, and it'll say select to print when it is not selected. If you've decided to clear your results or that you need to start from scratch in the specific items you'd like to print out, you can do so by clicking this clear button. Once you're ready to print your selections, go ahead and select the print box. The next box that pops up is demonstrating some of the specific accessibility resources available for printout. First, Universal Tools, English Glossary, you can select that on or off. And then next we have designated supports. As the note indicates, these options apply only to math. Because I've selected both ELA and mathematics items, this note appears to make sure that it's clear only that the mathematics test questions would have these resources once toggled on. I'm going to select both of those resources to yes for demonstration purposes, and clicking print items to PDF will begin to generate and prepare the PDF for download and or printout. It does take a few seconds to prepare the PDF, so just give it a couple of seconds while that's being created. Once the PDF is prepared, another window will appear. As you can see on this window, there's a summary or a cover page available as part of each of your PDFs that you would select. That cover page provides some basic high-level information about the test questions you've selected. You can see there are 4 total test questions. It gives the individual item ID, as well as some basic information, grade, subject, claim, target, depth of knowledge, and item type. In addition, you'll notice that there's an icon here for the calculator. That's an icon that will indicate the items for which you've selected if a calculator should be provided to students if they should need or want to use a calculator to solve the question. Items that have the calculator would mean the calculator is allowed. If there's no calculator icon, that means a calculator is not allowed for that test question. Scrolling through the test question, the first one, if you'll recall, was an ELA literacy test question. It was part of a reading passage. So first you'll see the reading passage appear, and as you scroll through the PDF, you'll find that test question 1 follows the reading passage. This particular test question has some English glossary content. We set that toggle to on, and so that content appears after the test question. And then our second test question begins the mathematics test question sections. You can see here that the second test question, as we discussed previously, has the calculator icon that indicates students should have or could have a calculator to solve this test question if they choose to. If you'll also remember, we toggled on the stacked Spanish translations. And so for the printout, you'll see first the test question in Spanish, and then the test question in English. That mirrors how the items appear online. And this particular test question also has some illustration glossary content. And so there are some illustration glossaries that follow the test question. We have a couple of more of the mathematics test questions that we selected. We'll scroll through those. It's a similar format with the test question followed by any of the illustration glossary, English glossary content underneath. And we'll get to the last couple of pages where the rubric and or answer key appears. So for each of the test questions you've selected, they're listed in sequence of the selection, and the answer key for test question 1, B appears, as well as some rubric information for some of the test questions that would be scored accordingly. Once you'd like to download the PDF, you can download it to your computer with this button here. When you'll notice that populates the download for my browser. You can also print using some of the PDF functionality here in the upper right with the printer button, and zoom in and zoom out as you'd like. You can close this dialog once you've selected or printed out those items you've selected, and go back to the home page and navigate to other test questions or find some additional information if you'd like. Once again, this demonstration video was for the new print functionality for the Sample Items website, and we hope it was helpful.